Okay, a little better. Or music will cut off in a second here, but I'm gonna sit and paint. Okay. Sometimes I sit down and talk about things while I'm doing something because I have a lot on my mind, and at all times, people are growing, developing, communicating, trying to get by, pursuing the things that they love in life, making a difference every day with the love that we share with one another. And it's one of the most important things to point out how valuable that is, who people are on an individual level. Excuse me. But off the basis of that, I don't know. I've been through a lot lately. Like I don't want to just sit down, talk about it. Not for exposure therapy or anything like that. I don't mean to trauma down, but I've gone through a bit too much not to have some sort of outlet about it. It can be very internally damaging to sit in silence because I often do that. Sit in silence, you know, not fully integrating anything into a cohesive thought about the way things are. So sometimes it can help just to, I don't know, organize thoughts. Then it can lift spirits to be positive about it for a brief moment. I accidentally put this on the same layer. I use Krita. Krita is an online free platform for art, animation. You can do just about everything on it that you can in Photoshop, except for all of the fancy functions that you pay Photoshop for. I prefer this in a lot of ways, just because I've been painting on it for a while, years now. I'm trying to cut it out. It doesn't work. Whatever. Make it smaller. Eventually. Eventually. But that being said, yeah, it has now been, I'd say, 4 years, going on 4 years of me being homeless. And listen, I know how processes in America work. I know how a career works. I know how money is. I'm fairly good with money management. Off the basis, sorry, I was drinking water. Going on 4 years, being homeless. After finishing my degree, um, having all of that stuff laid out, my education and whatnot, I just career choices, the way things have been, stuff that's happened to me, everything. That and going through what I've gone through. At this point in time, it's getting to be a bit much. So I thought I'd say something about the nature of it and the way that being in a constant state of perpetual defense is what I call it or have called it can actually make you feel much worse about the world, people interacting, can make people much more unhappier, start to be apprehensive, and when you should be positive, or when I should be positive. And I think in a lot of ways that kind of affects the way that I talk too. There will be days where I don't speak, you know. There will be days where I don't even have a thought. I don't want to. Uh, but having a creative portion of thinking about it can be the difference between having an outlet and being educational and doing the right thing instead of the wrong thing. Because a lot of people have chosen different paths in their life. There's a lot of things that you can, do with that. There's a lot of people in the world. There are over 8 billion people in the world. And what I always say, with how temporary time is, we get about 90 years here on planet Earth. The average human lifespan is around 90 years. So, what we leave behind here, or the people we affect or have crossed paths with, is actually internally something to value in a lot of ways. And you get a minute chance that you will ever meet people that you do. It's one in 8 billion that you will meet someone, right? And as an individual, to value people for what they are is also to make that observation. So in my time, what I just do, I mean, I write, I do art, I have academics, research, journalism, I have my political belief system, my humanitarian belief system, observations of life, everything. And my schooling, my degree, my resume, and that's how it works in America. That's how it works. Spend a lot of time building a repertoire of not only colleagues, but people who respect you, people you've worked for, you know, and it's about those relationships and other people that actually makes it more value, valued, or valuable in a lot of ways. Just because people are one of the most important things about it. What happens between people on the day to day, regardless of an individual, because you matter in and of itself, but when interacting with people, it's per chance occurrence. It's something that would never happen, but you make it because it's something you wish to. And that's kind of the premise of basic thinking, but also part of the time in love I'm talking about. So, going on 4 years homeless, have I lost a bit of faith in the world? Yeah, but do I stop valuing people, time, and the things that, are supposed to make people happy innately? Most likely not. You're not supposed to. But that being said, sitting down and paint a picture, while I lack the three basic necessities of Maslow's hierarchy of needs: food, water, shelter, instability. It's kind of funny, right? Kind of a funny thing, or at least I have to joke about it sometimes. But I sit down to talk occasionally, and I figured I'd do that. Sorry, this is a painting. It's not a video game. This is a painting. So, with that being said, yeah. Sorry, I'm just gonna stretch my back out for a second here. So, one of the cooler parts about today a couple days ago. Gosh darn it. One of the cooler parts about it a couple days ago, I got a bike, so now I have a bike to get around. But before, I was just lugging this 50-pound bag around, walking around, sleeping outside for weeks on end now, which is interesting, right? You don't think someone like me is going to be as educated, as capable, or even on a communicatory basis, be able to express myself in that way based on social position. And that is part of the observation even being made here, is that people are much deeper than you think. They're much more intelligent, multifaceted, emotionally strained, stressed, traumatized than you think they would be. And majority of that thinking is is a very interesting thought. I study psychology. It's my preferred field of study. It's what I went to school for, then therapy. So going through what I go through and seeing the result being that it's just one of those things. In a lot of ways, I think there are many ways to act, and there are many ways to be, but I don't know. I don't know what I can tell you about the world after seeing the worst they see. Or maybe that's just getting to know it and being around that kind of thing. But I mean, I've seen people, and I will start this just with a personal anecdote. Since I'm talking about myself, I've seen people throw their entire lives away for absolutely nothing. Like, an example of this, and I said this while playing Terraria one time, but like, I've never seen my biological father because he would have rather have done heroin instead of raised me, right? And it's just within that observation of decision making because I've never thought to ever be that way, even in the social circumstance that I'm in, you know? Even with the way that I'm homeless, even with the way, like, you know, for 4 years plus out of a shelter, sleeping on the ground, sleeping in my car, don't have a car anymore. Some guy strangled me. I'm in a full lawsuit. I win the lawsuit. Nothing happens. Still homeless. Going on 5th year now. Past my birthday. My birthday is horrible. My birthday is always. I've never had a good birthday in my lifetime. Ever. But I am 27, so I don't expect. You don't expect to oh, happy birthday. Right, that's about it. But going on June 29th, 2026 at 12:57 a.m. It is right now. And that whole decision making discussion has just been racking my brain over and over again. Because some people will innately make the incorrect decision and try to double back on it. They'll try to get away with whatever you let them, right? I've never been that type of person. Always just with more so to myself. We, you look at the state of environment, people stealing from you. One of my paranoias, and I will tell you, this is just the most interesting thing about me. One of my paranoias is people sleeping or me sleeping and then someone stealing something from me while I'm sleeping. So I like wake up all the time. That being said, sleep is difficult too. I don't. I already have a diagnosed sleeping disorder, so it's tough for me to get to bed in the first place. But staying in an environment that isn't comfortable, sleeping on the grass with cement, you know, I'm not getting a lot of sleep at all. And it's one of those things. It affects you psychologically. It affects people psychologically. And that internal discussion about trauma, oftentimes other people will not see what you're going through, even if you try to show them. In a lot of ways, it's less about that and more so something that you go through as an individual. But the way this standpoint is that for some reason people know me. It should be an individual basis, but too many people know me. But there's like something going wrong too. So I don't know, but part of it, part of it, part of it is dealing with society. There have been multiple occurrences where I'll wake up to a police officer screaming at me, and I haven't broken the law. You're allowed to sleep on the ground. Did you know that? Multiple times I've woke up to dealing with police officers that don't understand their own laws. They don't understand. And what do I do? Go and file for an attorney? What do I do at this point? And that's time in my life that I've lost dealing with negativity or the way that another person can be or the decision making of another person. And being who I am, and I will tell you this, I am Mexican American. It is 2026 in the information age, and I am Mexican American, Native American, from an primarily POC, African American and Mexican American family. So I don't really like law enforcement too much. And my comments on that will be I've never in my life seen any person of law enforcement make the correct decision, not horribly affect someone's life, and or I've witnessed a ton of brutality. I've never seen them do their job correctly, but that's because I know the law, and sometimes those things don't match up even. So dealing with police officer after police officer every morning as I'm struggling to fall asleep on this cold hard cement that's been something that's been just wearing on me. I'll wake up to getting yelled at almost every morning, and I'm trying to be grateful to be alive. You know, I'm trying to find some reason to be grateful to be alive. And as old as I am, that's an interesting statement, right? As old as I am, being 27, approaching 30 years old, I think about it. like, uh, this isn't matter. I shouldn't have her. Whatever, moving on. But there's been much too many times where that was the forefront of my thought. And I'm someone who prides myself in education, communication, what you have to say, the work that you do, your idealisms, if you're respectful or not, manners. But one of the key points, and I've said this before, but one of the key points of my personality is that I am a communicator, a communicator. Okay? I'm someone who values communication, values someone that says their feelings or even interpretation, subtle body language, hints and cues, and is able to open up and willingly, work on stuff. I value language, syntax, dictation, the way something is said to me. And for example, I don't like when people will just, you know, write off the whole thing. They'll write you off if you don't have enough. They'll write you off if you have no money, write you off if, you know, things aren't going well. It isn't reflected in their standard that they have of the world that is already taught in learned behavior. So you can see where the discussion about, you know, integrated functioning from societal perception is because that can be traumatic too, you know, in a lot of ways. Traumatic to go through. It's a bit too much sometimes, to be honest with you. But I'm not the type to complain about it, nor am I the type to take it out on other people. So that difference being what I wanted to point out, I do not think I know another person that could go through what I have gone through in my life. It's a very unique thing, but I do not think someone else could have gone through what I've gone through. So there must be a reason for it, right? I've never seen anybody go through as much as I've gone through. And in this day and age, people are lazy. Apparently, people are lazy. It's the information age. 2026. You have smartphones, computers, you have everything at the palm of your hands, DoorDash, the delivery of food. It doesn't make you lazy, but I mean, just an observation. We have everything at the ready and at the moment fairly quickly, you know? 2 day shipping. And to be honest with you, I have a bit of a story about that. I was starting to panic because I couldn't find this drawing pad stylus, and I was trying to 2 day ship it. I went to Best Buy and bought another one, and realized that this drawing tablet that I have, it doesn't, it's not universal, so I had to go and return it. And then, I started to panic because I put a lot of the way that I'm feeling into the things that I'm drawing or painting, and I use it, and it's not unhealthy, is what I'm saying. But I use the art that I do, the commentary, in some way to kind of mitigate, even the way I'm feeling about it. Because it's not the Earth's fault. I can't be mad at the Earth. Earth's fault. It's like that. One minute though. But just the instituted trauma. Trauma. And it's a lot to go through, to be honest with you. but figured I'd sit down and say that first and foremost. And also, I was having this thought the other day about people, especially because I was dealing with that person in the computer, and I just turned it on after 3 days of being away from the computer. But I was dealing with that person for so long that it had me thinking about the psychological premise of authority and control. The way that a person might want to feel control over other people just innately from being, in description, tired of the world in some way. They've been treated unfairly before. They think they've been treated unfairly before. So they opt to control someone else, or even the presence of authority. And then the discussion of Milgram in the Princeton prison experiment came up. And it was kind of like that. Someone was in the computer, messing with me, hurting me, even mentally, sitting there surveilling me 24/7. And there's no getting anything past me at all. You cannot get anything past me. And it's not because I'm like super paranoid or anything. I'm just a smart person, you know. So what what these two things had to do with everything is that the person sitting there pressing the button to disrupt the computer, to disrupt everything that I was doing, is a form of control. And when you give people control, albeit even without the observation of authority, if you give an inch, people take a mile. You give an inch, people take a mile. Meaning that person with control going that far to disrupt everything on the computer innately is then taking part of my time, even disrupting what I'm doing, but also abusing me. It's in an effort to hurt me, right? And when given anonymity, don't know who they are, right? They will abuse that 8 times out of 10, especially with aggression and the way that a guy can feel. I know it was like a dude, which kind of disgusts me too. It's just it makes me feel disgusting, but I don't need another grown man looking at me all day, abusing me, you know. But if you give someone power, they most likely will abuse it. And with anonymity, people oftentimes turn evil. They think nothing can happen to me if I do this to this person, so they do. And that's the that's the decision making that I'm not today, at least in that way. So those moments spent sort of battling with it, because I wasn't doing anything wrong. I know I've never done anything wrong in my life. Never in my life. I have a background in volunteer work, foster care, therapy, been a personal care attendant, worked with children with autism. I'm a chef, done everything I'm supposed to in life. And yet, this ends up being the outcome in the later stage of a dynamic that has been happening for years. And it's just an interesting thing to point out. Medical manufacturing. Did you know that stents and pacemakers and catheters that go into your bloodstream have to be made in a clean room environment from start to finish? It's such an interesting thing to me. No germs can be on this at all. and then, it's medical work. But there's a lot to life that people might not understand either. I'm one of those people that has to be prepared, and to have this sort of disorganized existence that feels as though it's not my fault. And also there's a presence of an observer that shouldn't be there. Innately you can see something wrong is happening. Something wrong is happening, something wrong is happening. Right? And it's basic common sense, man. Basic common sense, man. My favorite superhero. The guy me, the guy who shows up and says, hey, you should think differently. You should already know this by now. Okay. And then just fly away. Whoa. There goes basic common sense. There goes all basic common sense. Man. Kind of like the same thing. In some way. Just observing the way people be evil and violent. You just have lost all basic common sense. Right? But there is something to say about him. There's a lot of things to be said about him. And to be honest with you, you know, ugh, right? Ugh, ugh. What do we do? I've gone through too much. But given the presence of anonymity and power, someone will abuse. And I've never been that type either. I always do the right thing. I am to a T loyal and always do the right thing for absolutely no reason. Some people just don't even flip and give a heck. They don't even give a flipping heck and care, dude. And I will tell you this: to be to meet and be around someone who's good natured, good at what they do, holistically humble about it, holistically portion against the frame of thinking that they need validation in some way for something. It's hard to find. Or good, how people say good people are hard to find, even though people are one of the most important aspects of life. People are human in person, so well, that's not cheating. What the hell? Hold on. But it's not following the link instruction. Being said, I am the type to give difference. But I don't know, right? What can the amalgamation of history's presence say about that? In history, being one person as an individual, a thought did also cross my mind what do you want to leave behind here? Is it just something you just hope to exist and then be gone, have loving people in your life, and it's over, right? Mm, that's good enough, right? Mm, I don't know. A lot of work for it. That being said, there is more to life than interacting with people who may not even understand who you are, where you come from at the end of the day. There's more to life than sitting and trying to prove your worth to say someone who just won't understand at all. Life part of life and even being stuck the way that I am. Like, so I looked at it. I've applied to so many jobs. And I looked at a notification at a job I applied to, and everyone knows me. Been there a few times, and they told me they want me to work there. But nothing wrong. So I've kind of just done it. I was disappointed for the longest time, but I don't know. Open my phone and just immediately more something else to be upset about. Am I weighing priorities properly here? Not sure. But you can see that there's a lot of things that stress people out. And many people are impacted by trauma, things that they go through, the stresses of the world. We all live in the same system. So seeing the value of that too is a bit difficult. A bit difficult. I won't sit and glorify hardship because I've been through it. Some people have not had to go through anything in a lifetime. They've had everything provided for them. Everything. Something to work with, at least. Right? Not for me. It's not the same for me. But it's not like I'm sitting there comparing every facet of everyone else to what I go through. And that's why I made the observation. Other people, like say like a normal TikToker, someone on TikTok, right? And not to be divisive in any way, but there's a difference in individuals. Like regular TikToker doesn't, you know, feel entirely normal to me. No, even with people of my generation, I don't look at them and identify just because of what I've gone through. And I think that's part of the way it can be damaging. I look at people sometimes, look at people sometimes, and just think, oh, I don't really look or feel the way you do, even though you're in my generation, even though you're in my peer group, you know. Same age group, everything. Oh, then I'll look at myself and I'll say, like, I'll just keep scrolling. I'm not the normal one. I'm I'm not the normal one. It's me who's not normal. I'm not in a weird way, not in a creepy, self-attribution, Jeffrey Dahmer, serial killer way. Would that have to laugh at? Like, no. Not like, and some people are sociopaths. They they don't feel empathy for some reason. Say whatever, do whatever. Growth rate, but it's not that kind of one. Not in a different, therefore psychotic analogy, but can't identify with them. They're so happy go lucky. Have you gone through anything in your lifetime? And then some grown adults, 35 and older, are still coping inside. They never grew out of it, grew past that. I think that's what you do. But trauma shouldn't be the thing that you bank your entire portion of thinking off of. It shouldn't be, I went through this, so I am this way. It's unhealthy. It should be the portion of thought where growth is something that we all go through to help you connect more, even. So always try to make the right decision about it. I'm never angry, never aggressive, but I guarantee that other people, you know, who have gone through what I've gone through, which not a lot of them, but other people would have taken it differently. They may have internalized it, gone about it a different way, and that's just more. That's more. I think live in some way, and not in that weird show. I don't know if you've ever seen My Name Is Earl. That was a show on public access television for the longest time, Fox maybe, but he was obsessed with karma too. Not that kind of way, although it's kind of an interesting thing. But in a good things go to good people, and bad things and situations happen to bad, and that's what you choose to believe in, kind of way, and you hope it's that way, and that's how it needs to be. But you cannot control the powers that be. You can't control the powers that be. What would I look like walking up to God? Why'd you do that? Why did you do this to me? Why? And just realizing, you know, the answer was in your own brain. The answer was in your own decision making. And I'm not even innately religious. I'm Buddhist. I'm not. I was raised Catholic, strict Spanish Catholic. Now I'm Buddhist. So I don't know. A lot of things about life should be no, right? Should be more. Life should be valuable. It should be done differently. And I'm not going to lie to you. Part of the issue is that they aren't. No one has sat here and said anything, anything remotely productive. Most focusing solely on the negative, or that oh, that's the way that it is, so it will be that way. No, no, it's not the way the world works. So I went out on a bike ride and had my day off from work. I work on Wednesday. Like I said, I'm a chef at a deli. Serve food for the meantime, but a whole portion of it. And I keep thinking about it. This shouldn't be what it is. I'm a really good person, and it's gonna mess up the whole. It's gonna mess with the power level. I guarantee you. When it starts with raining and thunderstorming. That's a true story. I started crying when it started raining and thunderstorming. I can't control lightning, but that's what I will say. What would be kind of cool though, or that being said, yeah, surviving off of ramen noodles, time, sleeping on the ground. I don't know. People often don't see how serious life is, and I do well enough not only downtrodden the trauma and how truly bad it is, that it, that is, but you know, it's a way to mitigate it. Downtrodden it is taking is also taking control in some way. And with life's issues, that's what I can say. People cope with humor, they cope with the realization because after you have decided within yourself, I cannot change this. You know, I will never get back this time, and I cannot change this. There is the resulting factor, what you do afterwards. And if you're angry, resentful, I mean, why would you be? It's unhealthy. If you internalize it, you bring it up later. Because I know, like, if I ever have a child, I will tell my child will have more. I don't have any kids right now. 27. When I have a child, I will teach that child, you know, just to double back on that premise. Because everything that I've learned, I've worked for, my art, the things that I make, commentary, my career, therapy, everything that I do, resume, psychology degree, everything I taught to myself. I meant on my own. Didn't need anyone else to tell me I was right or wrong. Because I did it on my own, right? And that's cool. That's fine and all. But right about now is that time of life where I think I need more social support. but I'm so damaged that I can't really, I don't connect at all. I don't connect well. But, I don't know. This is a painting. On a lighter note, I wanted some ice cream. I didn't get any ice cream today. I went to Wendy's, and the guy who works there this one time, he was like, I'm gonna tell you, I've been homeless for a while. So this one time I went into a Wendy's and I just broke down and started crying. I didn't have it. I don't know. I was crying about something. My day at work was terrible. I didn't have any money. We went to Wendy's to eat. So I burst into tears. And the guy at Wendy's was like, bro, don't sweat it. Bro, don't sweat it. I got you, homie. And he gave me a free order at Wendy's. I was like, yes. And he was my lifelong friend afterwards. Swear to God. If you need your house remodeled, I'll do it for you. Invite it to my wedding. You can you go up to my birthday party. Actually, me, right? Respect you. I respect kindness. But anyways, I went to Wendy's today and I wanted some ice cream. I didn't get any ice cream. Same guy was ordering, so I gave him a handshake. I was like, man, I'm sorry for crying. He was like, no problem, man. No problem. You want some more free Wendy's? I was like, hell yeah, man, thank you. That's just a nice thing. It's a nice thing that's happened to me. It's about the only nice thing that's happened to me lately. Some people stop in my direction. I've been discriminated against before. Look at my face. Can you see my face? Not a bad. I mean, I'd say I'm about a four. I'm a strong four, right? But I'm not a bad looking guy. So I start to question whether people have discriminated against me in some way. Some people are just so rude to me. Like they know what's happening to me before I even walk in the restaurant or something like that. But just looking at it as that observation, they seem to know something about me beforehand, but I've never done anything wrong in my life, and it's actually completely wrong for that kind of thing to happen to me. So going through like a nice moment is for cant. I've been kicked on my face, kicked in my face, actually, kicked on, it's kicked in my face on the side of the road. On the side of the road, someone has kicked me in my face before and just walked away. And because I didn't want to call the police, never filed charges. So I've gone through a lot of stuff before, and that's not the only thing. I mean, I've been shot at, people assault me, strangle me. I've gone through a lot. Okay, damn it. I don't have anybody to share that with. No. And what's interesting about it is that it might be very difficult to get on my good side. People always take it as, you've gone through so much. why on earth are you not the meanest person that I've ever met before? Because when people go through anything, usually that's their response. Why aren't you meaner? Why are you jokes around? Why do you joke around so much, even if the circumstance is as horrible as it is? Because it uplifts my spirit to have an impact, positive impact, a lasting positive impact on people in any way possible, and not to bring them down, even if they're being rude or discriminatory. And that's a good life lesson too. But I'd say I'm about a strong four, and that's funny because for me, I would be classified as like a bachelor at this point, a young bachelor, but I'm about a strong four. It's the best TV show idea ever. Titled "The Adventures of a Strong Four," like a 5 minute TV show. The Bachelor is kind of about the same thing if you think about it. If you ever watch public television, public access TV, The Bachelor is the exact same thing um, as The Adventures of a Strong Four. Because there will be five different, six, di- six different, like, beautiful women competing over one guy, right? And the guy he's not even that good looking, and he's always stupid. He's not I'm sorry, I'm laughing about it, but he's not the smartest. He's not the sharpest tool in the shed, not the shiniest doorknob on the shelf. Okay, so the adventures of a strong four is not far off. What's interesting about that though is like the women will compete over the guy. Oh my god, I can't believe he said this on our date, right? And then it'll get to the end. It's like come down and accept your rose, and the guy is just he's so much uglier than all of the other all of the women there. You know what I'm talking about? He's just ugly in comparison. Like who got the for the show, right? Who the hell got this guy for the show, man? Can't describe it. So he's sitting there, Mary, I have chosen you because of this reason. And Mary's like, really? Really? Thank you. I I just took the show for the money they offered. I'm not gonna stay here. I do not plan on being in a relationship. I think you're dumb as hell, but I'm here and I'm really pretty. That's the best part, right? The strong four is completely different. It's like, yeah, well, I think you're lying. Yeah, well, and the guy's ego is always just like much larger than it should be. Why is this bullshit? I think they're just happening on screen. This guy, the guy's ego is just too much for everyone. All of the girls just gather in a circle with knives and kill the dude afterwards. They they kill him and dispose of his strong body in a vat of vodka or something. Make sure his bones were bald. He didn't deserve to be around us. Ladies, It's kind of funny. But I mean, yeah, Rhonda, Rhonda, our date went well, but I don't really like the way your face isn't asymmetrical. The guy's the most shallow, ugly dude ever. The strong four. But he's like, I really don't like your eyebrows. You had a bit, you had a bit of spinach in your teeth on our date. So going home today. And the girl's like, whatever, whatever, MF, your your dick is small. Anyways. And he's like, no, it's not. No, it's not. Uh-uh. Nuh-uh. Nuh-uh. No, it's not. How would you know? How would you know? And Rhonda turns into she's like, because he tried to pull it out in the car, man, and I was expecting more. He's like, no, I hope that doesn't happen to me. I hope that doesn't. Actually, that sounds like the worst thing that could ever happen. But yeah, The Adventures of a Strong Poet. But The Bachelor is a bit different. But The Adventures of a Strong Poet is another hit new TV show, just like The Bachelor, where it describes the reality of actually being a strong four. You kind of just, on the next time of the strong four, on the next time of the life of a strong four, the adventures of the strong four. It's just a guy getting takeout alone. It's a guy at a restaurant sitting alone, briefly crying, then eating yakisoba. The guy looking down at his plate, you know, chopsticks and ears hit the yakisoba. I tried to get out tonight. It all came back. All the trauma. That is me for sure. Do a T. That is me. Actually, that happened. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm projecting. It happened to me 3 days ago. On the next time on the adventures of the Strong Four, it's you. It's the guy checking his ex-girlfriend's Twitter page. Seeing that, seeing that, he's much happier without him. Oh, now I feel kind of sort of creepy because you're much happier without me. What am I doing still looking at your stuff? What am I doing creeping on you? On the next adventure on Strong Core, he leans in for a kiss, and the girl kind of slowly turns away. At least she didn't put her hand out. He doesn't get the hint and tries it again. Flashes of burns. I do not want to kiss you. What? What? Why not? Our date went well. Yeah, it's the first date. Well, come on. That's how I imagine, frat people go. That's how frat people are. People are in those frats. I'm out of college now. I'm 27. I have my degree, but when I was in college, I never got the whole frat dude thing. How are you gonna listen to your listen to some guy put you through a humiliation ritual for people you that don't even really want to be around? I don't want to be around that. I don't want to play slap ass to homies, man. You can go play slap ass with your low IQ dude friends. Uh, uh, we're so funny. Look what we did. Slap ass at the Yale, at the slap ass at Harvard, Sigma Beta Phi. We don't, we, we're all, where everything is provided for us. So we can sit and play slap ass and not know anything or do anything for society. Slap ass all day, 100% slap ass television, and we still get our law degrees because that's daddy's money. Daddy's money and slap ass and Phi Theta Phi. Phi Theta Phi. Slap ass o'clock. Daddy's money. Kind of the meanest thing ever. But to be honest with you, even if you've gone to those kinds of schools, education as a basis is innately your own responsibility. You can learn, see, think, and hear anything and think it's true, but not have the actual audacity to know the information, to support it, and was slap as more important? These are the questions that I ask. Phi Theta Phi, slap ass dorm and Brock Turner. Oh God. Oh my God. Right? It's three. It's, it's the clone. Brock Turner. Wow. Wow. Some of those people are grown men. Do you? On the next time, eventually, I'd rather be friends with the strong four over Brock Turner. That's for sure. Or if it's Kyle Rittenhouse. I won't explain, but if you get the joke, you get the joke. I will not be friends with Brock Turner or Rittenhouse. Sorry, I don't make the rules. Jesus said no. But I mean, some grown men, right? But on the next episode, Strong Four, he actually goes out on a date. And I'll tell you the story. Never mind. This was going to be a completely different segment. This one time, I wasn't completely fluent in Spanish. Like, since a young age, I've been speaking Spanish. But I went out to dinner with this woman, and she typed completely English, right? She typed wholeheartedly 100% in English. And it wasn't like broken responses or anything like that. And we talked to each other, and she like talked to me, and then I asked her on a date, and we went to dinner. And I won't go to dinner without paying for anything, right? So I don't. I take 100% of the bill every time. I will not take someone out on a date if, say, I can't pay for the bill, even if the woman wants to go to Dutch. I won't split the bill either. But I went out on this date with this woman, and she typed in English, and then when I picked her up for the date, she couldn't speak English at all. At all. She was using Google Translate. It was still a very nice dinner, but I mean, that's why I started working on Spanish as much as I did because it's not only culturally my nationality's language, but I am a Spanish student. And I've had situations where it's came in handy, actually, right? Plan on visiting Mexico at least once or twice. She couldn't speak English at all, and I thought it was like it was kind of cool. I'm not going to lie to you. Something new that's happened to me, right? It's not something to see as a bad thing, because I don't think many people have gotten the Google Translate English from full Spanish date before, right? So at least it was unique in that way. But now I'm around 90% fluent in Spanish because I've been working on it. Learning different languages is part of that too. It's also cultural acceptance, multiculturalism, anthropology, observations of culture, as well as understanding. So a lot of things to look at when doing that kind of thing. And like I said before, it should be appreciated with 9 billion people on Earth. You don't cross paths with many people very often. There's so many of us that the chance of that is so very slim, and it should be valued. But she kept ordering a lot of expensive drinks. I ended up the bill was like $200, but it's fine. Now, seeing social position, now, I mean, what am I gonna do? Get upset in hindsight? Absolutely not. It was best night. Drove home and was cool. But I'm a glass of wine kind of person at the end of the night. I'll have one glass of wine with dinner and the sober cab home, and that's completely acceptable. It's like a responsibility thing, but it's also other people kind of see me that way already. They know me that way. They also know me as a strong four. I would say I'm about a strong four, at least to me. But on the next episode, in it, the doctor came back. He has cancer, but he's already died. And I'm sleeping with his wife, who doesn't know that he's a lesbian. Next time on the Days of Our Lives, our new hit show, The Adventures of a Strong Four. The guys celebrating birthday alone. Man, I wish I had a girlfriend. On the next episode, person turning off their TV, or man, the show sucks. You realize it's just your life. It's you. Damn it. Damn it. God damn it. Right? No, no, no. Trying to get this out of full screen. Might be a fun turn. Like, maybe it's like 11, 10, 9, 7, 5, 2, 1. I've hit every F function. Damn it. This is one of something that has happened to small for. Damn. Most strong for, still a solid worker. Solid worker. Hard working strong for. Over here. Who knows though? Who knows? Some per somebody might see you as the most beautiful person they have ever met and not put it on a 1 to 10 scale. One person might value you so much. I don't see that. Any of that. And they love you. Truthfully for who you are. It's what we're all in life, actually. To be honest with you. The other day, the whole discussion of the weird sex cult got thrown into discussion. It started being talked about around me. And what I said about it was, is that I think it's kind of corny. I think it's corny as hell. I think it doesn't fit into my morals or anything. And that you should, that those people most likely have to value people more, value and respect relationships more. I don't have a problem even with it, but it got brought up around me and it's just a topic. You don't, and what I'll say about it is actually, it's like you don't need everything in your lifetime. You don't, can't, or shouldn't want absolutely everything, anything, and anyone. You don't need to sleep with everyone in your lifetime. Learn to say no once in a while. Value people more. It's supposed to create some divisive faction with people who know what it is or something like that. But it's actually disgusting to me. I think it's whack, to be honest. I think it's the wackest thing that people will try to do. That and you don't need everything in your lifetime. And I will tell you that things I make and do isn't so that I can gain admission to the whack ass party, you know? That whack, corny party where no one has read a book and doesn't even know how to talk, but still wants to teach you. It's weird as hell, right? That's weird as hell to me. The things I do are to amount to actual work. But you're saying you just wanted to be a celebrity, you can sleep with whoever, whenever. That's the wackest thing ever. I think it's whack as hell. Here's the thing. You wanna know you wanna know what I want, truly? How about how about a woman who loves me correctly? How about one person on this planet Earth that loves me correctly? I don't need anything else. And it's a rarity, right? It's an actual rarity because people devalue everything, try to, take away the seriousness or even lack the effort with other people. But because of the way they are, I think that's right. How about one time in my life can I be loved correctly? Most likely not, right? I don't ever have action on strong four. Strong four goes on vacation. I should have saved my money and not even came here. That's how I might feel about TwitchCon. I want to go to TwitchCon because it seems kind of fun, but might get there and just say, might get there and just say this is lame. I've wasted my money, and now I'm unhappy. Right? Now I'm unhappy. I do feel as though it would be good idea. It might be kind of cool. Might still want to go just because, but I think I've been traumatized so much at this point that I just don't think anything is good. It's gonna take a lot to to get on my good side, build trust. Even I think I'm so damaged that I don't even know. My next partner might have to be going to therapy with me once this is all over. Still the wackest thing ever is how people can act in that way. At least to me. I'm not con- and here's the thing, I'm not concerned with comparing myself to rapper Daniel. You know? I don't compare myself to rapper Joe or rapper Daniel. And I don't compare myself to anyone at all. But that being said, some of my role models are people like Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, Mahatma Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, MLK, Claude Monet, Salvador Dali, people like that, you know, people who left behind something in history that was so valuable and so interesting for society on a basis that they were indispensable in history. Not not rapper Daniel in the sex cult, who's treated differently. He's treated more valued because he agrees blindly. You've gained allegiance. It's kind of the wackest thing ever, ever to happen. But wait on that, right? Just want to be left alone. I want to be left alone, and I want to be loved correctly. I want to be left alone, and yeah, yeah, love correctly. I'm talking about. Wow, you are everything that I wanted and knew that you were. Now I am happy. You have never disappointed me ever in your life and always been a good communicator. Some grown ass men are so aggressive they can't even be they can't talk like cavemen. Well, I'm sure the first caveman tried to eat fire instead of use it. Ew. My God. I'm sure I'm sure the first caveman that discovered the club banged his own head on it a few times too. But lemonade, still a popular drink. Lemonade, still a popular drink. And with that being said, that might just be an analogy for that kind of thing. You've been indoctrinated into the wackest wave meme, and you will listen to everyone, and you will listen to me. That's the wackest wave meme. Please keep this secret for everyone's sake. And that's how it starts the wackest sensibility. And it's rapper Danielle with $500 million. Music really isn't even that good. Okay, well, I'm glad you can sample. Oh, you can sample a song. Do you even actually play any instruments, right? You can Fruity Loops it. I guess at the end of the day, it is audio engineering, but you have a message, or you just rapper Daniel from the Six Hole, whack ass dude, Rock Turner, where you keep a secret. That's kind of the, I don't know, I don't know if that's the cultural opposite. That's a cultural equal to Brock Turner as the rapper Daniel sex cultist. Uh, they're two sides of the same coin, you know? I don't know. Probably shouldn't say that name out loud so often, but you get it. You get it. I'd rather just be strong for and alone. And I hope things truly do get better. I've lost a bit of faith in the world. Here in the world. Lost a bit of faith in it. Even though I love it, I will tell you that I don't love being alive, but I still have love and love the world for what it is. It's not the Earth's fault. What am I gonna do? Blame the Earth? In the ocean, in the skies, the clouds? Absolutely not. It's really the only thing that keeps me going, to be honest. Is clouds, and when it rains, my goals, long-term goals. I travel. I like to visit Vietnam at least one time in my lifetime. I like to see Pieta, the Great Pyramid of Giza, and the Great Wall of China. Those are three things that are on my bucket list that I would like to do. And maybe the Louvre in France. But you never know sometimes. That's the way life goes. You never know. Right? That and meet someone who actually truly does care for me. You know? Still haven't found out that. But eventually, right? So that over glorification of what that is, I don't know. I just feel like you can kind of agree with what I feel about it. It's sex obsessed, over glorification. It's not as fun as you think it is. It's kind of whack, and I don't care that you're a celebrity at all. But being said, yeah, this is a painting that I'm in. I think it's like this one might be very Dali. Dali este fantástico artista en historia, en la categoría pura, es de una persona de arte en Dios, en las manos de Dios y la rosa, una persistence memory was also an observation of dreams and keeping time, which is a Salvador Dali painting. Y Dali es de una fantástico artista impeccable. mí, en mi mente, pasa un momento en su mente. En lingual y vocales, historia, cultura, sentimental, vale. Listo. Están here now. I'm gonna work on this in a minute. Not for a bit. But it helps to sit down and talk about things. Don't be emotional transference over true understanding ever. Don't skip on that. From one strong four to another. Yeah. Let's see how this turned out. Gotta hit the autosave. For some reason it must have. And now the echo is back. I'm over here looking for my glasses here. Microphone wanted to start echoing. An interesting thing. Staying in. Hmm. Well, right. Here's another one. Local guy.